Hello everyone, this is HYPERPC. There is a feeling that we have produced the most performance computer in the world. 2 server processors with 256 cores in total, 96 gigs of video memory in the rarest working video cards and 6 terabytes of RAM, which is 384 times more than a regular user PC. We are currently in the UAE, Dubai, in the HYPERPC showroom. My name is Paul, and today I will tell you about our exclusive project for $150,000 for training neural networks and artificial intelligence. It was ordered to work with AI, but it was made by our human hand, so the device will not capture the planet. Let's figure it out with AI together. As the customer said, we need to create the most performance workstation for AI with the maximum amount of RAM, 2 processors and 2 video cards, and all of this water-cooled. We accepted the task, understood the request, and created a productive and performance machine. In this system, 2 RTX 6000 AED generation graphics card will take over the full power of the video core. These are not just a regular 6000. These cards are not only more productive but also more premium, being at the same time incredibly rare. Imagine this power. Our system is real multitasking giant, with 2 AMD EPYC 9754 server processors inside the Gigabyte MZ7 3LM0 motherboard. With 24 slots for RAM, we solve tasks on the go without stopping for a second. And how do we do that? Using 6 TB of RAM on Hynix chips. Each model has a 256 GB and we have as many as 24 of them. This is not just a configuration. It is a power in its purest form, capable with turning any ambitious projects into reality. The big advantage of DDR5 memory is that it consumes less energy compared to previous generation. And we get reduced heat generation, improved energy efficiency of the entire system, and it also has high work speeds, which reduces task execution time and increases overall work efficiency. The system also will have 4 SSD sub-brand Rocket 4 Plus disks of 8 TB with a read speed of 7100. The entire system will be powered by a 2 kW power supply unit with a Platinum certificate. Reliability and stability are the most important aspects that we always pay attention to. AMD EPYC 9754 processors work in pairs. They communicate via a special data bus. This is not only increases productivity, but also allows them to efficiently distribute the computing load. As a result, the system becomes a powerful tool for big data processing, virtualization, and scientific calculations. And now, let's move on to the HYPERPC G10 Pro Hydra, which is made in the V3000 Plus case. We appreciate it for its roominess. It allows you to place many radiators, providing the necessary cooling for such systems. We will leave the details about the cooling system for the dessert, or rather, the moment of production, but we promise that you will see everything with your own eyes. We entrusted the production of the computer to a specialist with many years of experience. Bulat flew to Dubai specifically for this project and is already creating and bringing our ideas to life. Such a large project cannot be created without a specific plan. First, install processors, all RAM strips and drives into the motherboard. Second, switch to video cards to replace air cooling with water cooling. Third, install all radiators and fans. Fourth, well, let's create a custom cooling system. Bulat is ready, the plan has been outlined, we are starting production. As you remember, we also included video cards in the cooling circuit. They will be constantly involved and work at 100% of their performance for calculations and training for neural networks. Video cards will have the same temperature and constant load. In this high-performance system, there are 3 radiators and 13 fans. The workstation produces a lot of heat, and it is very important to reduce it while maintaining operating temperatures.
Come look for a girl.
Right, you on the beat, baby.
Thomas, would you please go look for a girl?
Right, you on the beat, baby. So far.
We have almost finished creating the HYPERPC G10 Pro Hydro. The appearance of the computer is no less important to us than performance. The final touch will be professional cable management. We have pumped the cooling system with air to make sure it is reliable and are starting to fill it. There will be 2.5 liters of liquid in the entire system. When selecting the configuration, we primarily paid attention to the customer's requirements and the most advanced technologies. We started with our HYPERPC G10 Pro Hydro model, determined the main parameters of the system, and then developed a cooling circuit, selecting the components for optimal operation. Our project goal is a high productivity and efficiency. This PC will be used to download and learning large neural network models. Computationally intensive tasks related to machine learning and artificial intelligence will be performed. The client is a local resident of the UAE, preferred to remain anonymous, but in general he is engaged in AI training as a hobby. During production, we were faced with the fact that 256 GB ECC DDR5 server memory models are extremely rare, and 4 of the 24 models turned out to be factory defective initially. We agreed with the customer that we will implement the project on the available 5 TB of RAM, and as soon as 4 serviceable models are delivered, we will come to the customer and add them to the system. The delivery of serviceable models takes about 1 month, since now there is a huge shortage of large capacity server memory models all over the world. In addition to standard applications for maximum system load and checking temperature indicators in OCCT, FurMark, PCMark, Signbench, and 3DMark, we conducted tests in the benchmark for AI stations, namely in LLM benchmark. Also, for comparison, we will upload a real-time neural network model to our workstation and to a gaming PC to see the difference in performance and demonstrate the potential of the workstation. The cost of video cards was about $22,000. The cost of processors is about $10,000. The cost of RAM is about $85,000. The amount of 6 TB of RAM is needed to load neural network model into RAM and training. Deep learning is impossible without loading the entire model into RAM. As an example, I will give the language model of the Falcon 180B neural network. 2 processors are needed to distribute the load during calculations and take over part of the deep learning processors using NVIDIA overload technology. This motherboard is unique in its kind, in addition to the fact that it supports 2 AMD EPYC 9754 server processors, each of which, let me remind you, has 128 cores. It also has 24 RAM slots with the ability to install RAM up to 6 TB. It also has 4 PCI Express slots for video cards, which similar motherboards don't have. 2 video cards in our system simultaneously perform the main task of the station, neural network training. The RTX 6000 ADA is the most productive in the line of working graphics card, each with a bandwidth of 91 teraflops. In the future, an upgrade of the system is possible, namely in increasing the number of video cards to 4. The cooling system is made using premium and reliable components from EKWB. 3 480 radiators, 13 high-speed fans are able to provide stable temperatures when the station is operating 24/7. The components are very productive and emit a lot of heat. In order to extend their service life and maintain working temperatures, custom water cooling is necessary. Conventional air cooling is clearly not going to work. Custom cooling will perfectly cope with the load, and it will need to be serviced only once every year and a half. It is very important for such complex systems that operate 24/7 to have fast and qualified support. Therefore, even after we have tested, configured, installed, and handed over the workstation to its owner, the HYPERPC team is always in touch and ready to respond to an emergency situation as quickly as possible at any time. Welcome to the presentation of the latest computer testing system for artificial intelligence. And today we will not be engaged in game tests. Our system is designed for the work of our future. The only thing we can say is that everything is done very seriously here. Every detail, every aspect, from RAM to video cards, from the operating system to drivers, is under strict control. That is HYPERPC control. We created this system to ensure the reliability of tomorrow, so that the artificial intelligence remains within the framework that we have defined ourselves. But we have finished the production of our most performance workstation, and I would like to ask you to show us comparative test with an ordinary gaming computer based on an i7 14th generation processor and an RTX 4080 graphics card. First of all, we would like to visually see what the difference between them in terms of performance and numbers, so let's start with the tests. We will also run a render of the same scenes and see the difference in render speed in real time. And now, we are not just going to start testing, we are going to unleash the full performance of the HYPERPC workstation. So let's get started and see how the computer handled the tasks. So we will now proceed to our first test. This is a benchmark blender. We will run it in parallel on two computers at once. Here we see three scenes. The choice of the main load will be on the processor. Here we are. Here we see an example of a scene that is being processed now. That is, here we see an example of a scene. It's in current progress. Processing essentially takes place inside the system, and at the output we get the final performance points. Okay, now we see the results, and this is a huge difference in scores of 11 and 12 times between the workstation and the gaming computer. Wow, the results is incredible. So let's go forward to the second test. And now we have a second test, and this is a V-Ray benchmark. This is a visualizer program that is used for 3D modeling and 3D animation programs. Here we see that we have a time limit of 1 minute, and within this time the program checks how good the detail will be in real time. Yeah, so now we have received the results, and we see that again there is a difference in performance several times. And we can move on to the next test, where the video card and processor will be used. We choose also the processor and the video card together and start testing. Since the system consists of two processors and two video cards, in this test we will not be able to fully use the full potential of the workstation. Yeah, the results show us a multiple advantage, and in order to fully use the full potential, we will move on to the next test. We have a third test, and this is a Blender program and the Splash 279 test. We run the test at the same time. The animation consists of 11 frames, and we can already see the difference between them. In the case of the workstation, we see that it processes frames one by one, whereas the gaming computer processed only second scene. Here we see that in a real application we get a huge difference in the speed of operation. These renderers are used in various animation studios, in graphic design, in game development, and this is all essentially a huge time saver. And now we see the finished result on the workstation, and in the case of a gaming computer it may take another 5, 7 or even 10 minutes. Great, thanks a lot for the test, and we are clearly saw the huge difference between the two systems and see its real capabilities. We would also like to tell you about the difficulties that we met during the PC testing process. The temperatures of RAM under load turn out to be unacceptable for us. This arose due to the close location between models and also due to the large capacity and specific of ranking of the models. Now we have 23 models out of 24 installed and system working fine. I want to tell you about how we get it. We never give up on challenges. Having studied all the solutions to the problem, we decided to create a unique stand for cooling for each block for the RAM models. With the help of the program, we modeled the design, printed out the stand with 3D printer, which includes 3 Noctua 40mm fan. This will ensure optimal temperatures and stable operation even in the most stressful conditions. With our solution, you can forget about overheating, and focus on what really matters, the performance of your PC. We have tested HYPERPC G10 Pro Hydro in the main work programs. We understand that you might have a lot of questions and suggestions. Write them in the comments. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel to support us. The HYPERPC team has coped with the task, and now you have one of the most performance workstation in the world. And now we are putting it in the reliable hands of specialists.